What's up, y'all? I'm Lonnie, and this is for this week's discussion. I'm stepping into the shoes of an impacted stakeholder, an IEP responding to a big environmental mandate. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service just dropped the policy that says by 2030, every landowner's got to reconvert half their land back to native species and wildlife habitat. I'm going to reflect on how this would affect me personally, my family, and the folks around me, while also trying to back it to the principles of intellectual empathy. The values and benefit, but values and beliefs. This mandate definitely connects to some of my personal values. I'm big on sustainability, taking care of the land and keeping ecosystems healthy. We're introducing native species, meaning stronger soil, less invasive takeover, and better biodiversity. That's straight in the line with what I believe. But at that same time, it's also a challenge. I farm for my livelihood, and half my land flipping back to a wildlife habitat would mean less direct growing space. So my values line up with the conservation side, but there's tension with the economic side. It puts me right in the middle of wanting to protect the earth, but also needing to provide for my family. The challenges for me, the biggest challenge would be adjusting my business model. On 5 acres, losing half that workable land is major. I'd have to figure out whether I could still grow enough produce, mushrooms, and livestock feed to keep my operation afloat. For my friends and family, especially other small farmers in my community, this could hit hard. Not everybody has extra acreage to spare, and some folks already living check to check off their land might feel like they're being boxed in by the government. I can tell you myself personally, it's frustrating even now for myself. I can already imagine the stress that this would cause for older farmers who don't have the energy I do, or who have the time, who don't, or the finances to overhaul their land practices. I definitely have questions like who's paying for all of this? Are the grants or cost share programs to help farmers replant native species? What counts as native? Do I get flexibility to choose species that still provide some value, like nut trees or pollinators, or do I just gotta let it go wild? Another concern is equity. With large industrial landowners having an easier time meeting these requirements than smaller farmers, which more than likely stuff like that is why the decisions were made. And how would compliance even be enforced fairly across millions of acres? What would help me is clear communication from the government, financial assistance programs, and maybe even training sessions. If they partner with the universities, extension offices, the local extension offices at that, agents and local nonprofits, that could make sure landowners aren't forgotten and don't feel in the dark. For question 4, reflections and insights, thinking deeper. This is really highlights that need intellectual empathy. It is easy for environmentalists to say we need more native habitat, just do it. But when you actually put yourself in the shoes of landowners like myself, especially small-scale folks like me, you feel the weight of the sacrifice. Connecting to this, to my course project, I see how IEPs like local farmers, landowners, or even indigenous communities, like North Carolina, myself, has the Lumbee tribe, might push back on certain policies, not because they hate the environment, but because they're trying to survive. If I was mapping IEPs, I'd place farmers in the middle space, caring about nature, but also deeply tied to economics. The insight here is that empathy has to go both ways. Conservationists need to hear the financial and cultural struggles of landowners, while landowners need to recognize the long-term benefits of biodiversity. If we can bridge those two mindsets together, policies like this don't feel like a punishment to us. They feel like a partnership. So, overall, the mandate both aligns and conflicts with my values. It would definitely cause challenges for me and my community, and I need clarity, support, and fairness to even attempt to take it seriously. And the bigger lesson is this: putting ourselves in the people's shoes helps us move past the us versus them energy and finding common ground. That's intellectual empathy piece, and that's what I'll make my environmental policy stick in the long run. Appreciate y'all listening. Thank you.